Welcome back to ANZ Stadium. All those Essendon dream believers. The return of their arguably the greatest of all time, James Hird, as coach of their club, up against John Longmire in his 100th game as an AFL coach. Second half about to get underway, and it's a 22-point lead to the Bombers.
Moon spoke to James Hird prior to the game. He said the players were ready to play. He was spot on. Are they ready to play 4 quarters?
Limited preparation for many of them. Did not play in the NAB Challenge. They elected not to play in the NAB Challenge, the majority of the players, just in case they ended up with a suspension. Will their condition hold from the ball up? And will Sydney improve? They couldn't get any worse in their opening half.
Interesting to see Sam Reid start up on a wing next to Brendan Goddard.
Dyson Heppel.
Oh, that's
50-metre penalty.
Oh, no.
He might be able to have a shot.
Well, he's certainly going to be in range. That's just silly. Craig Bird just to the side of Dyson Heppel. But he didn't get back behind the mark. The umpire gave him a clear warning.
The umpires are red hot on that. Back a few years ago, they used to give you 4 or 5 warnings. Now they give you 1 warning. You don't listen.
Don't know if this is his strongest point, Dyson Heppel, but he needs to kick these.
Their biggest lead was 32 points. He has driven that straight over the goal umpire's hat. That was never in doubt. And this horror show continues.
A perfect start in the second half for the Bombers, Brownie, but as you said, when you get it wrong, you will give away 50. Just have a look here. There's the push in the back. That goes against Kieran Jack. Hands in the back of Dyson Heppel. And you'll just see here, Jack stands the mark, but coming to the bottom of screen, there's Craig Bird. He's too close. He comes from forward of the mark and he goes across back towards the mark, but he doesn't. He had to go back around wide and then come in from the side.
And the players are told ad nauseum about that in the pre-season.
So from the restart, Tibbett and Belchambers, they get the clearance finally. Parker to half forward. Franklin hasn't had an influence yet. Kennedy tried to handball it to him and missed the ball. Melksham tackled high by Franklin.
He's getting frustrated. And you can see why, because there's not much quality ball coming down. The more you look at Sydney, there just doesn't seem to be the same assuredness about their possessions and disposal when they do get it.
Frustrating for the forwards too, when the midfielders up the field are handballing all the time. It's very tough to take a mark when your teammates are handballing all the time.
Well, you think that's something that John Longmire would have addressed. That'll be 50. That'll be 50. And that was silly.
And I think we've seen the game progressing more to kicking. You know, we've seen Hawthorn are obviously the best at it, but you can't win games of footy by over handballing.
I'll tell you what, they need to be careful that ill discipline doesn't cost them any opportunity to get back here. They've given away twice as many free kicks as the Bombers.
And from senior players as well, which makes it twice as bad.
Well, will Cale Hooker go for the torpedo? Quarter time.
Dustin Fletcher's lurking.
Have a go at it.
Adam Cooney went for it at quarter time. He goes for the drop punt. He gets plenty on it, but it's offline.
Reece Shaw was lucky he didn't lose his head then.
He got very close to the man on the mark.
God almighty.
Quick kick in. Gary Rowan wide.
Good kick.
Reid. Good hands. Dry ball at the moment, though.
Good move getting Reid on the wing. Got to free him up a little bit here.
Well, he's going to have a great battle with Brendan Goddard because he's been getting plenty of it.
Through hands, Bird, Fletcher. Boundary line if he wants it. Doesn't. Bangs it back to the wing. Backing back. Oh, Hanbury took out Ambrose. Umpire will sort it out with the ball up.
I reckon one of the biggest differences too, guys, when Essendon go forward, you spoke about before, Brownie, Danaher, Carlisle, they're giving a great contest in the air. They're bringing the ball to ground. 1 on 2, 1 on 3, they're bringing it to ground. Down the other end, Sydney, I just don't think they're getting enough from their tours as far as a big contest.
3-time premiership star Cameron Mooney on the boundary line today.
We've really only seen the one clean mark from Tippett up forward, and that's been about the highlight from their big blokes, isn't it?
And that's the first thing you learn at key position school, isn't it, Jace? Just to make a contest first and foremost.
It's a key position fest here. Cameron Mooney, Jonathan Brown, Jason Dunstall.
Yeah, and I think you and Moons were probably better versed at it. If there's blokes dropping back, you jump into them, you take them out as well as your opponent, and you make sure that you scatter a few bodies. The one intent is to make sure they don't mark the ball and sweep it away.
Correct.
10 premierships and over 2,000 goals between the three of them. Great to have them here for this Saturday afternoon match of the round. And right now it is living up to expectations for Essendon fans who've settled back to see how this new Essendon, unencumbered Essendon, is going to travel in 2015. Melksham doesn't find the line.
Dyson Apple going for the third up. They just look, Essendon look more active around the stoppages. You know, guys going for third up, midfielders running through the contest.
Well, they were looking for a set play there because they were going to kick that the defensive side of the centre square. They had players on the wing leading back hard towards their own centre half back position. The Sydney Swans on that occasion looking for the big change of direction, but the rampy kick was smothered.
Tippett and Bell-Chambers, they tie up again. Had a piece of each other. Heppel, good smother read, came in from the side. Grundy to Hanbury to the deck. Howlett caught high. In fact, he took legs out, so it's against him. Tippett to Grundy, and again they wanted to run it. Cooney tracks him down. Richards under some pressure, flicks it over the top. Cooney was that in the back,
just needed to keep his weight.
Free kick to Laidler.
His back.
If Laidler can get up,
he's done this well. Alan Cooney has. He said my arm's caught under Laidler and he's not moving, so I can't get my arm out.
Looks like he's playing the rugby league game last night. Lay on top of him, wear him out.
So already you're getting lots of fat side leads from tough positions. So Sydney are going, it looks like they're going to try and change direction whenever they can.
Kennedy read that well off hands. Kick wasn't so good. Isaac Heaney bangs it in Franklin's direction. Hurley's done well on him all afternoon so far. And that's a fantastic pickup on the slide, and off he goes. Hooker, crunch. Caught by the ear on the collect through. Kennedy. Good mark to Towers.
Franklin one out.
And now the cavalry arrives for Essendon. Goddard and Gleeson.
She's a poor kick from Towers.
Oh, it's terrible.
Never anywhere near him.
Hurley to Fletcher. Adam Goods, the two old stages.
Gee, if I'm Buddy Franklin, I'm getting really frustrated.
Hurley's done a terrific job, but the kicks to Franklin have always been to Hurley's advantage side.
It had to be to the right-hand side of the screen, not where the two Essendon players were coming back.
And it does drive you mad as a key forward. You're getting frustrated.
Reed. Throw. Right, early in the job, umpire Ray Chamberlain.
He didn't protest.
This is what we're talking about at half-time. Sydney have been really fumbly. They've coughed up really easily around the stoppages.
Good kick to space.
But it's even the leadership down here, guys, from Sydney. I can't hear them, especially their forward line. I can't hear them giving directions, talking this, saying that, whatever it may be, just doing something. Essendon, on the other hand, they're giving each other direction all over the park at the moment. Yeah,
there's no confidence and that arrogance when you're playing well. There's absolutely none of that.
Oh, look out in the pocket. Melksham, he keeps that alive. A miracle. A beautiful miracle of that.
Sometimes you wonder, is it meant to be? Well, this could end up being a fairy tale day for the Bombers. I mean, let's face it, Sydney are one of the best teams going around. They're not going to give this up. They will come hard, but at the moment, have a look at this. When you're on, this is
on the wrong side.
You'd kick that 1 out of 10 at best, wouldn't you?
1 out of 10, 1 out of 100, Chase. You were backing yourself in. How many of those goals did you kick during your career?
Not many.
Your name wasn't Peter Dacos.
Those pictures tell the story. Jake Melksham, 16 games last year, but missed out on the final. And is 2015 going to be his year? Fletcher off the deck. His last year, of course, 2015. We presume he's playing on a 1-year contract, a year at a time for 5 years.
Very good point you made, Tuano. Melksham's had a good game, but underrated guys. Howlett, 13 possessions. Melksham, 12.
With Mark Watson and Howlett started on the bench, of course, as the sub.
Collier, 14. Zach Merritt, 10. They've all contributed. And their tackling stats are right up.
Through the hands of Ambrose, but he marked it.
The other interesting thing is Travis Collier has had 14 possessions. That's the most for any Bomber. Luke Parker's had 25, but he's kicking at 33% efficiency. Josh Kennedy's had 19. He's only kicking at 50%. So they're getting some of the ball, Sydney. It's just they're under pressure and they're not using it well.
That's right.
Parker out of the congestion, gets another handball to Laidler. Lance Franklin went back against the tide nicely. Jetta. Rampy can get and go. Open sides available for them.
You've got to get on the end of it. Franklin was running hard. He could have got used again. But, oh, that's a poor kick turn.
Reed. Goddard and Reed. Goddard does well. Bagley makes it a 2-on-3. Hanbury goes back to Franklin. Oh, it just isn't working for the Swans. They're just not on the same page as each other today.
A lot of handballs have gone to ground. That's why you've got to really respect Joe Watson's game. He's had 14 possessions, going at 86% with his kicking.
He's leading them well. Jared McVeigh, one of their co-captains, not playing for Sydney today. It's over to Kieran Jack to be their sole captain today. But the Bombers have brought in some magnificent experience from other clubs. Brendan Goddard, Adam Cooney. They've still got Dustin Fletcher playing at the age of 39, be 40 next month. Heppel, Bellchambers, Slung, Parker, Heaney, his first game. Gleeson read that beautifully. Hibbert, he's got Bagley on the run. Merritt, he's got Chapman on the overlap. He comes back inside. Good craft out. Goods was coming. Dyson Heppel stood his ground, and he's hurt.
Jace, you mentioned the possessions before. I mean, you look at Essendon, you know, they've only got 7 guys who haven't had over 10 possessions, where Sydney, they've got 11 at the moment. They're just sharing the workload around at the moment. That's the biggest thing you can notice down here, is how much they're sharing it around.
And Hurley's out. They've got the overlap player here, well, Essendon. He can run if he wants to. Being told to. Goes inboard to Melksham, who wanted it a little longer. Danaher up early. And it rolls away from Collier. But they can reset. They've been winning at the stoppages.
You mentioned McVeigh missing for Sydney. They'd also love the hardness and the run of Ben McGlynn back in there for sure. But, you know, they've got enough of their best players playing today. There's no excuse for the fact that Essendon have been so much harder and more committed around the contest. I think he threw that over the boundary.
Yeah, umpire let him off. Bombers without a few as well, but would be up for selection, like Courtney Dempsey, Heath Hocking, Nick Comer, Jason Winderlick perhaps, but they're pretty close to full strength, Essendon.
Moon's made a really good point. Sydney are renowned for their communication, their voice around stoppages.
Watson again. Ooh.
Moon said it's been very quiet out there today, and that's a really troubling sign for mine.
Well, again, it just doesn't have the atmosphere of the SCG either. Try and get the crowd involved here at ANZ Stadium. The crowd is so spread.
But experienced players out there, Dwayne, you don't be relying on the crowd.
No, that's true. But every little 1%er can help. Hibbert. Ambrose did well. Melksham strolls to 50, kept it too low. Rampy.
That was interesting. It would have gone through. He actually had it on line, but he thought there was only one pair in front of him. Rampy was the loose that was shepherded by those two.
Skids it to Adam Goods. Drives the kick. The Hurley's in front of Franklin. Put it to the deck, though. Now Franklin's dangerous. Tippett knocks it back to Franklin. Oh, he wanted to run through the wall.
Oh, he's going to get a free kick. He took him on, too. That was, well, it could have gone either way again.
That's right. I saw Ray Chamberlain. He looked at the other umpires to say, are you going to make this decision? The other umpire said no. So Ray's called it 2-on. I think it was probably fair enough.
Hurley knows, had he held that mark, this wouldn't have happened.
Been a bit stiff there. Like, Hurley's reacted to the play upfield really well today.
Yeah, look at him. Look at the frustration going, how do I drop that chest mark?
I think he's probably beaten Franklin on the first step every time. Reacted just that half a yard quicker. But you can always get hurt if you don't take these marks. Franklin gets you on the way back to goal.
79 goals last year, yet to have an impact, and does on cue here.
Well, it's ideal for the Sydney Swans, also for Lance Franklin. One thing you don't want is a key forward, and you can see the frustration on the face of Michael earlier because he had him done cold, but there's nothing worse than being kept goalless. So he's got that monkey off the back, buddy, now. But
yeah, the free kick was there. Just got him from around the back of the neck. I tell you what, the Bud's not the one you want to drop a mark and give him a chance, because as we know about this bloke, he can change the course of a game in the space of 10 minutes. And Sydney are going to need him to stand up and change the course of the game. I don't think anyone else looks like they could turn it.
5 touches, but he's got a goal on the board. He's away.
First of many, you'd think, for the year for Lance Franklin, but it's been a mighty slow start. Took him over a half to get it. Hanbury in the goods direction. Good fist away. No infringement. Stanton wobbles it towards half forward. Straight through Richards. Straight through Danaher. Carlisle outside of the boot. Merritt.
Float out, is it? That's a good result. The key for the Bombers now is you've got to fight back quick, because all of a sudden, if Sydney go forward and kick another, little doubts creep in. Sydney get their backs up, they get their confidence up, the crowd starts to come into it, and you have a few doubts as an Essendon player. They want to quickly answer that Franklin goal. Make sure they kick the next one.
29 points the margin. Free's been found. Kieran Jack.
Kieran Jack's run off 50 metres away, and they've let Hanbury take it.
Yeah, so Jack's going to have to come back.
He just marked the ball. He's going to kick it back.
He doesn't want to go and have it.
Oh, they've confused it. I think they've called Hanbury Kieran Jack.
Okay.
A few of the Essendon players were making that point then. That's not Kieran Jack. Because the umpire clearly said, Kieran Jack, his free kick.
Bird, who kicked their only goal of the opening half. Mike Pike. And floating in, not quite. Parker, though. Gleeson. Chapman, can he half volley it? Did well to keep it in front. Melksham, bang, gone. Got it back again. Bounced up like a rubber ball. He could go for home here. Can kick a long ball. Kicks it towards Goddard. Just edged out illegally by Rampy. Goddard's free.
Wow. It's going to be interesting. Was this in the side or predominantly in the back with the hands?
He doesn't miss these, Brendan Goddard. You give him a present, he'll take it.
Yeah.
Very, very happily. He is a beautiful kick at the footy, but they couldn't afford this. It's great for Bombers. As I said, they need to get straight back and answer that goal from Sydney. They don't want Sydney to get any momentum whatsoever.
Melksham burst out of the centre there. Probably went to the wrong guy. Collier was on his own.
He'd kick this 100 times out of 100.
To put momentum back in Essendon's favour.
Wow. Didn't Jace just put it on the line right then? He'll kick this 100 out of 100.
He is one of the best kicks going. So great work from Jake Melksham. He was in a little bit of bother. He fumbled the first one because he knew he was going to get hit, but he stayed in the contest. Now have a look here. Oh, that's a tough decision from that angle.
Well, the ruling is you can rest your hands on the player's back. You just can't force it.
In the back or in the side? It's hard to tell, isn't it?
It probably was. The letter of the law in the back.
We don't mind the forward getting a free kick, Brownie.
That's right.
Any obscuring of the number by a hand and they count it as back.
I like this Goddard going forward as well.
Bell Chambers and Tippett. Can the Swans respond? Oh, good hard attack by Ambrose.
Jeez, he's been hard today, Ambrose.
Good tap down by Cooney. Back with a flight. He attacked it. Smith attacked and gets a free.
Clumsy. Ambrose.
18 minutes gone, third term. If you have just joined us, this is the biggest margin again of the game. 35 points.
I tried to get the ball back in the corridor a couple of times.
Cunningham back to Smith. Rampy wanted to go.
He played on. He called it play on.
And is that your prior? It is. That's his prior opportunity. He elected to play on, and he was cooked.
He's not enjoying the umpires at the moment, Dane Rampy. Just cost him a goal with the interaction with Adam Cooney moments ago. And that one, he wanted to go. He half went, and the umpire saw it.
Ambrose sets it up. Watson. Good contest, and it's out of play, and suddenly time becoming a factor in this as well. Difficult conditions, rain continuing to tumble. 35 points the margin, and we're about to start ticking into time on. Bell Chambers, good palm down. Dyson Heppel, top of the square. Danaher with 2 to beat. They'll take that, the Bombers.
Another great contest. Joe Danaher certainly got his confidence up. He kicked 4 in the final against North Melbourne last year at the MCG. Just seems to have a lot of confidence out of that. He's obviously grown physically over the pre-season.
He's a bit bigger. He looks a bit. He's still lean, but he looked downright skinny last year, didn't he?
Parker spins out of trouble. Dangerous kick.
He's good, Luke Parker, though.
Stanton couldn't smother, so it's a bouncing ball towards Rowan on the wing. He tries to flick on. There's no one there. Gleeson collects. Oh, got him by the ear. Play on advantage. Stanton is free. Can he find a chest to put the ball on? Sits it up. Danaher, almost through his grasp. Back in, tries to keep it alive. Adam Cooney. This is getting nasty.
And Gary Rowan's injured himself in that last contest as well. Well, that's 3 for Adam Cooney. And he's been an inspired recruit. When you look at the impact he's had today. He's kicked 1 in each of the quarters thus far. Hasn't picked up the sort of possessions that he normally would. But 10 possessions and 3 goals. You've got to say that's been a pretty profound impact.
I don't think James Hird would be expecting him to come in and average 30 possessions like he did when he won the Brownlow medal. He just want to come in 15, 16 touches, get a couple of games, add leadership.
Former #1 pick back in 2003. Traded over summer for pick 37. Turns 30 this year, and he has been rejuvenated. 3 goals, 1 in each quarter for Adam Cooney.
The mountain just got a lot higher for the Sydney Swans.
Absolutely, and it's snowing up there. Kennedy can't get the kick away. Hooker, and they're inspired right now, the Bombers. They are running on adrenaline, and adrenaline might get them home even if fitness starts to fade. Laidler tries to squeeze it wide. Race on, Bird and Gleeson. And the boundary line too quick for them both.
Tell you what, though, adrenaline's a very powerful thing when you're 41 points in front.
And look at Gary Rowan here. Something happens, I think, to his ankle because he was limping heavily after that, and then he just came off. So we'll get a check on him in a moment.
He's just running some laps now, Jace, at the moment. He does have that left knee, a bit of strapping underneath it as well.
He's probably when he came off.
Gleeson, when he's caught as he tried to shrug off, the ball was stripped and he got away with it.
But Sydney's lacking around these stoppages. As we look at Gary Rowan there, he might be all right. Just lacking a bit of movement around the stoppages.
This is the biggest margin of the game if you've just joined us, 41 points. Grundy couldn't pick up. Collier tried to get it away. Heppel tries to get it away. Zaharakis does get it away. Goddard comes hard. Clean pick, Melksham. Hooker. You heard the call. Touch. Cooney tried to flick on. Every ball a tough one, and the tough bodies are getting the freeze. Cooney's got it.
Oh, it's 50. Yeah. Geez, how's their attack on the ball been from the Essendon boys?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fletcher's there if he wants him. Now the spare man is Bagley. Gleeson looks up.
Got Hurley in the corridor.
Bagley fed wide, which opened up the space in the middle. Hurley can go.
Bad kick, that one.
He misread the lead from Heppel. He's going to come off for a spell as we speak.
Give Cameron Mooney a chance to have a look at whether any of these players are starting to fatigue, whether the trainers are working overtime to keep them alive here.
And good to see Gary Rowan back on the ground, so he's okay.
Back into play. Hanbury buffeted out of it. Ambrose, good pick on the run and nice hands. Collier sits it up. Goddard in a 1-on-2. Richards gets back. Goddard for the crumb. Rampy caught by Danaher. Smith. Jetta's his target. He's got it. And even Jetta not playing on at the moment. And that's normally his modus operandi.
Tried to kick a torpedo.
Heaney
Got away with it.
First game has looked good.
Franklin wants it long up the line.
Franklin. Parker off hands. Good hassle by Stanton. Not quite good enough. Space ahead.
Gee, that's a good kick.
Oh, he's dropped it. He's put it to grass. So Lloyd, the sub, now on. That was his first touch. They've subbed someone out. Kennedy, sidestep, caught. Tried to get the handball up. Hannabrick caught. Handball to Bird, caught, dump, Parker, caught, dump, ball in there. And they cover the gaps, Essendon, for a ball up.
So it might be Adam Goods, the man that's been subbed out.
Yeah, definitely down here, Jose. He's just got the red vest on now, so Lloyd's come on, Goods off.
They've rolled the dice, the Swans. Running out of time, Collier hammers it clear. Grundy. Goddard. Shows some poise, all class. Nice release kick. The boundary line or Carlisle would have taken either.
I'll tell you what, you just mentioned there, Dwayne, poise. And Brendan Goddard's probably got the best, or one of the best in the comp for poise and composure under pressure, and he's got the kicking skills to match as well. And that's another area that Essendon have clearly been in front of Sydney, is their kicking disposal, even in these bad conditions.
And the ball in.
Just the 9 possessions for Adam Goods today. Didn't hit the scoreboard, so not a big one for him.
They tried to get him involved early, Jace. They had him up around the midfield.
Shaw drives it long, hoping for Franklin. He won't get near it. Essendon with the numbers. Gleeson left it behind. Franklin does get near it. Heaney. Essendon getting players back, and Fletcher get there. He might rush the behind.
Still reads the play well. He's a marvel, isn't he?
Still got those long arms. They're not getting any shorter.
No. He could have been 5 metres behind and still reached over and punched that one through.
Well, Collier in a 1-on-2. Oh, Kennedy did well, flicked it back, kept it alive. Jack, and he kicked one from there.
Oh, he's just torched Luke Parker.
Over the back.
And Luke Parker turns around and puts the arms in the air as though to say, well, why wouldn't you kick it to me?
Goddard comes hard. Laidler holds his ground.
I mean, Kieran Jack's running straight at goal and virtually in line is Luke Parker, 45-degree angle. It's a 10 or 15-metre kick finds him. He's all on his own. He has a set shot that you'd expect him to kick. And he kicks to a 1-on-2.
That's what tends to happen under pressure. You don't see those shorter targets that are free inside 50. You get desperate and you bomb to the top of the goal square to your usual target, Buddy Franklin, even if he's got 2, 3, 4 people on him sometimes.
Coming off a 19-game season last year, Jeremy Laidler, but did miss out on the grand final 22. Gee, got plenty on that. That was never in doubt. And he breathes some life into this.
They bring it back to a 6-goal game, but in the context of the game and the conditions and the way that Sydney have found it, very difficult to score. You have a look here. You can just see Luke Parker all on his own halfway between the goals, and Kieran Jackie goes long to a contest. Now it works out in the end. I think they're a little bit lucky that it wasn't pushed through for a behind. But it took a very good conversion from Jeremy Laidler.
It's a great kick from outside 50. They need to string some goals together. That's what they haven't been able to do, Sydney.
From the ball up, 3 minutes left. And they steal another before three-quarter time.
I mean, Joe Watson's been terrific. Like, look, he's only had 16 touches. When I say only, compared to, say, Luke Parker, who's had 32, but his efficiency's been good. He's had good leadership. He's been strong in the contest.
Kick to goal, half a dozen clearances.
Gained some ground at Melksham.
He does a lot of the heavy grunt work. Essendon have got a lot of players that can play inside, midfield, outside. But Job's inside. He's in the engine room the whole time. That takes enormous physical presence.
He must be a relieved man as well, Job Watson. A lot of speculation on him, whether he keep his Brownlow. He can play unburdened now and lead this team home from here.
This guy's been good as well, Jake Melksham. Out of the side towards the end of last year.
Top possession, get it now with 18 for the Bombers.
He came hard, big fist out of play. The Bombers don't mind the reset. They're enjoying this. 2:38 left.
They'll just try and work the boundary now, all the way along. Certainly when they're attacking. Worst case scenario, goes out of bounds. Reset for Essendon.
Back into play. Bell Chambers. Almost flicked it to Melksham. Parker rolls it to the wing. Bird off the deck, but there's no one home. Goddard, the goalkeeper, he was waiting back for exactly that. Heppel can go. Hurley says, hold it up, fella. We'll take our time here, get a breath. Danaher floats in. Free kick. Kirk Tippett.
Sydney have got to attack here. They can only switch the play and go through the corridor.
Franklin's worked hard here upfield. He should get the ball.
He has worked really hard this quarter, buddy, hasn't he?
He ran 100 metres for that into space, and the kick skews off the side of the boot and goes out of bounds.
It's been a good contest all day with Hurley and Franklin, but it certainly hasn't been through lack of buddies trying. The kicking to him has been terrible all day.
Back into play. Dying Stage's third term.
Look at all the big blokes for the Swans. Franklin's had 6 possessions, 1 goal. Reid 5 possessions, no score. Tippett 5 possessions, 1 behind. And Pike, who's played ruck and forward, has had 3 possessions, no score.
That's what I love about Buddy, though. He never stops trying. He'll get up the field. He's prepared to work.
Little toe poke from Buddy. Wrapped up. Knew he had to get it out. Did get it out. Off the deck. Lloyd waiting for it. Centre half back. 1-2 with Laidler works. The release handball to Richards. And they steal one in this last 90 seconds. Kept it low. Turnover. Bombers might get one on the rebound. Hooker. Danaher. Sits it up. Swans have the numbers. Getting back. Reid. Good hands. Nicely measured pass to Lloyd. Just over the hand of Hibbert. He's got Jack wide. We're down to a minute. And he bangs it long in hope. So it comes down to this. This is a massive kick. 56 seconds. Cunningham with the ball. And he's just inside his range.
We were watching Harry Cunningham having some set shots warming up before the game, before they actually did their official warm-up. I've never seen a bloke miss more in a row than Harry Cunningham did. And he kept kicking them until he finally got one, and then he went off.
Yeah, he'll probably kick this one.
Hopefully he's got the bad ones out of his system.
He also had a horror 3-kick grand final. He must have erased that memory. He did not hit it well. It's remarkable.
That's what I saw.
That's exactly what you saw.
You've read it pretty well today, Jace. You've called it beautiful.
That's why we pay him the big bucks, Brownie.
Exactly right. Harry Cunningham, another one of those younger players, as you mentioned, Dwayne, that played in the grand final last year, along with Jake Lloyd and a couple other guys that they would expect improvement again this year.
Can they steal one? Every player inside attacking 50 for the Swans. Every player with both teams just about. Now they run. Stanton. Carlisle gets back. Grundy takes the mark. Maybe time enough for Lloyd to bang this into a mark. 2 seconds.
It's been good, Lloyd.
1 second. Siren sounds. Well, the Bombers have been front page, back page for the past 2 years. They win this. They'll be front page again tomorrow for all the right reasons. Don't go far. Essendon by 34 points. Cooney, 219 games for the Western Bulldogs, Brownlow medalist, traded over summer, and he has been inspiring. 3 goals so far, 1 in the first after the quarter time siren, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third, and that was a massive nerve settler for the Bombers, who lead against all odds at 3/4 time here at ANZ Stadium in Sydney by 34 points. What have you made of it, guys?
Well, I think that, it's obviously been a dominant display by Essendon. You look at those stats there. What really stands out for me so far has been the tackles. 56 to Essendon, 45 Sydney. And normally the tackle count is led by the side that's getting beaten, and beaten comprehensively, because they're always chasing the opposition who's got the footy. It's been the other way around, hasn't it, Jess?
I'll tell you what, John Longmire, he would be impressing on this group right here, that you said a lot of things during the week about making up for a poor grand final performance. You haven't showed me much. We need to do it. Heard he'd just be saying more of the same as we head down to Cam Mooney.
Thanks, Jace. Look, I absolutely love the leadership and the composure that this group has showed in Essendon today. Even at halftime, I spoke about it, and again, just then, there's no ranting, no raving. The boys are cool, the boys are calm, and just watching them, they've absolutely got this in their legs. They've got the run, no question about this. They'll get over the line here. This is one of the great wins for Essendon Football Club.
And the specific message in the style to play the last quarter will be to play with that composure. Just to kick the footy around. Don't slow it completely and don't move forward. Still move the ball forward, but just try and take the life out of the game for Essendon here and make it really difficult for Sydney.
If I'm Hurdy, I'm just not getting too technical. I'm saying to that group, looking them in the eye, saying, if you give me the same commitment for the next 30 minutes that you have for the last 3 quarters, I guarantee you'll be rewarded at the end of the game.
Final term underway. We could see a little bit of history unfolding here. Parker bangs it inside 50, and that's been the story.
Again, he didn't need to do that. He had time and space, and he juggled it and kicked it out of mid-air thinking he was about to be tackled.
We haven't spoke much about Carl Hooker all day, but he's done a fantastic job on the ruckman, Pike, and Kurt Tippett, who's more of a recognised forward. He's only had 1 goal kicked on him.
What I've liked about both Hooker and Hurley is they're not afraid to take front position away from the forward and back themselves and attack the footy rather than worrying too much about your opponent.
Rain starting to pump down again here. Collier to half forward just over Cooney, and Reid takes the mark. Can the Swans get back?
Well,
it's their home ground.
The rain's certainly not going to help them, Dwayne, but they've got to take risks. They've got to use the corridor at every opportunity. They've got to try and hit up some leads and play on as quickly as possible.
Rowan heads wide. Franklin's his target, and he gets there.
Just didn't stick, and he was a little bit sore when he went down there, I reckon. Just see him grimacing. He landed heavily on the shoulder, but he kept leading. He keeps attacking the ball. That's all he can do. It's a good contest. Hurley's right there.
And what you said, Jace, before about the Essendon defenders taking front spot, it's a wet ball too, so it will drop short.
Kennedy trying to break free. Watson trying to inspire them again, the captain. To the wing, and it bounces out.
But it does take great courage from a defender to stand in front of the likes of a Buddy Franklin, because, boy, if that ball gets over the top and over the back, it's going to be an instant goal.
Every minute that ticks down now, super important for the momentum to start this season for these two teams. Swans, of course, coming off a 10-goal humiliation in the grand final. Rowan takes off. No one in the square. Franklin held. Franklin's ball. It'll get goal anyway. Advantage and a goal.
That's gone the other way.
Other way, boys.
It's going to Hurley.
Against Franklin.
This is amazing.
We'll need to see that one again. They were both hanging on there. It was almost like watching a waltz.
Yeah.
They were holding each other and turning around in circles, but who initiated it, it doesn't really matter. It's who gets caught. It's who the umpire sees as infringing.
Long ball towards the wing. Everybody trying to work that out, catch their breath, trying to come up with an answer as to why the Swans have had no luck whatsoever all day. Franklin up, got it, bang, gone,
he's
down.
in trouble.
He's caught, rolling around the body towards goal, and he
Who's
misses.
that on the ground?
Someone's out.
He is still down.
I think it's Luke Parker, boys.
He's still down.
He's been knocked out.
He was prone there.
Speaking of no luck,
that'll be the end of the day for Luke Parker, and that's a sign of his courage. He just attacks the footy all the time, eyes on the ball, and both players were committed. It's just unfortunate that two teammates have got eyes on the footy.
Have a look at that.
Oh, he's gone down heavily and got the second whack when his head hit the deck, Luke Parker.
Buddy's in the footy record at 107 kilos, so it's a fair bit of weight coming through there.
That's a wrecking ball, isn't it, Brownie? Look, and unfortunately, they've used their sub as well. We know Lloyd's come on for Adam Good, so they're going to be one down now as far as substitutes go.
Yep.
Isn't he a bull, Luke Parker?
Oh, he's a star.
He's single-handedly tried to get him back 36 possessions he's had, but God, he's courageous.
For me, he's the single most improved player in the competition the last few years. He's gone from good, honest try to superstar, culminating in that best and fairest last year. But he's out. He's finished for the day. And he looks very,
blood
very
out of the mouth as well, which is always troubling. I've had a little bit of experience with these head injuries, and sometimes it can be a sign of a little crack in the jaw. So let's hope he hasn't got a crack there.
I think at one stage they thought about naming the concussion policy the Jonathan Brown rule, didn't they, Dwayne? Such was the number of times he'd been KO'd. But
you started it with that horrendous helmet you wore years ago.
The good thing is
he's moving.
We have got some of the best people versed in these areas, the medical staff at the footy clubs are the best people to assess and to treat these players and to take every possible precaution to make sure they're okay.
Pretty sure Brownie had his own cart and stretcher there for a while, named after him, didn't you, Brownie?
Yeah, they put his number on the buggy that drives the stretcher out.
So how many plates have you still got, Brown?
We've got 15 plates in your face, yeah. So, and usually, unfortunately, usually a sign if there's blood in your mouth, it's either you've lost a tooth or there's a crack in your mouth somewhere or in your jaw. So we don't want to be alarmists and don't want to jump to conclusions. I'm certainly not a doctor, but that's the advice I've been given over the years.
Well, look, he's up and moving and he's standing up. He's probably going to walk off unassisted. He's going to get up and climb onto the buggy, which is great. But he certainly won't be taking any further part. He's a courageous young man, that fellow.
He's one of the more courageous in the competition. Best and fairest winner last year. He's been the best player over the NAB Challenge. If he misses weeks here on the form of Sydney today, that'll be a huge loss.
He's had 36 touches, Luke Parker. That's a personal best for him. And it's also 13 more than the next best on the ground.
He can hold his head up high.
Let's hope it's just a mild concussion and nothing more. And hopefully he'll be okay as soon as possible and playing next week. Did you say 15 plates in your face?
I do, 15 plates. And
hasn't helped, has it?
It has. The makeup girl ran out of makeup before we went on here.
Play back underway. Hurley towards the wing. Dyson Happel, that could be on the full. It is.
And John Longmire might be making mention of Luke Parker's attack on the footing. So this is what we need from the rest of you.
Free kick. Block to Franklin's ball. Can they get a break or two here, Sydney?
Well, this certainly wasn't Michael Hurley's fault. I'm wondering who it was that came in and took Franklin out, because I think Hurley's the one that ended up marking the ball. He can't believe it. He goes, it wasn't me. He's looking at the screen for a replay.
Hard to tell. Both forward and defender are usually always hanging on to each other in those contests.
Franklin drives it long. It's a goal. That could be the fire starter for the Swans.
He's played a superb game, Michael Hurley, and we saw him drop a chest mark at the other end, which ended up in a Franklin goal. And now he's taken the mark here. He's just... How is that a block out?
Yeah, no, that was a poor decision.
The umpire paid a shepherd. He said blocking at the contest. He's won a contested mark.
We did see earlier as well, about 5 minutes earlier, Jace, where Hurley earned the free kick and it looked like it was Franklin. So the umpire might have been squaring up. Look at this run up, Jace. Doesn't go out as far as he used to.
Yeah, that's the new rule, I think, but the trouble with that is that's the wrong interpretation of it. You can actually use your body if you're going for the mark, and you do mark it.
And he did that, so you can understand why he's a little perplexed.
Yeah, that's a free if you don't actually go for the mark.
But I do like the way Franklin's kicking. He certainly has straightened that run up, particularly when he's close to the goal.
Yes.
And it looks so much better.
It just lowers the percentage when you go right out, doesn't it?
27 points the margin. It was 40. The Swans, last year's grand finalist, fighting here at home against an Essendon team that has had very limited preparation.
Chappie's just gone and pushed.
He has Laidler.
Laidler over. I don't know what's going on. Well, Chappie's throwing one at Pikey as well. He's angry.
Long kick forward, tip at the target. Ball clean to the back. Hurley's there, Franklin's there, boundary line's there.
Chapman's still going at Laidler. He wants to go on with it, Chappie.
They used to be ex-teammates.
Yes. But he must have seen something in the contest there that he didn't like, because he had to go at a couple of them, and he wants to go at it.
It's pretty fiery too, isn't he, Moons, Chappie? We've seen over the years.
It doesn't take him much, Brownie, for the switch to flick on him. Let me tell you.
Collier tries to knock on Jetta. Sidestep outside of the boot. Goal square. Thump towards the line. Through for a behind. Down to 26 points. A lot of time left.
Certainly hasn't. The conditions haven't played into Lewis Jetta's hands today. He had 12 possessions.
Danaher, Richards, Bell Chambers all up. Good attack, Melksham. Fantastic attack by the captain, Jack. Pike, a roller. Clean bowls a couple. Tipper. They're in this.
Go out, nothing.
Sensational. The big fella on his left. Can't say we've seen Kurt Tippett kick a lot of goals like that over the journey, Jace.
Showed good dexterity, good flexibility just to pick it up and snap it on the left foot. So you see what I liked here was they got the ball back. See the punch from Pike got it back into the corridor. So you put it in a dangerous position, and then it's just a matter of keeping the ball alive. Look at this grab, clean grab and a good snap.
They have halved the margin in the last 15 minutes from 40 down to 20, and we've still got more than 15 left in this contest. Howlett tries to break free. They're inspired now, the Swans. Laidler, he's inspired. He's been ruffled. Hanbury long. Franklin, not quite. Drags it in, caught, throws it out. And that could be 50 against Lloyd.
He's going to get the benefit of the doubt.
So what they've done now, they've put Brendan Goddard back in defence as a loose man. Sydney have straight away gone and manned him up. So Sydney are now playing with a 7-man forward line.
It's a smart option, Brad. I mean, they're winning the contested ball at the moment this quarter, and even the clearance is 5-1 this quarter. So they're playing the Sydney of old at the moment, one-on-one, really tight game.
Swans have won the last 4 games against Essendon. Beat them both times last year. Off hands, Shaw, and the crowd starting to get into it. On the full, free kick.
He did the hard work too, Reece Shaw. Won the ball, spoiled it, picked up the loose one, just couldn't keep the ball in play.
Played twice last year, round 9. Swans by 9 goals. Franklin kicked 5 of them. And round 19, without Franklin, still beat the Bombers, did the Swans.
I'll tell you what, he's had a big record against the Bombers over the years too, Dwayne.
Yeah. And make no mistake, if they kick 1 or 2 more, they get very nervous, the Bombers. Because everyone's expected the Swans to come at them, and it hasn't looked like it. But now they've got themselves within touching distance, and this is after Moons declared them dead and buried at 3/4 time.
And the Bombers, a few of the Bombers themselves will not know if they've got the condition in them. They have not played any NAB challenge. That was their choice. They elected not to take the chance, but they won't know. This is their biggest contest of the year.
You nervous, Moons?
You've just made me a little bit nervous.
Pike from the slap down.
All of a sudden the crowd's come into the game a little bit.
And they've got it away. Bird keeps it low. Franklin got there late. Carlisle can't mark it. Tippett shrugs one. Bumped on the kick. Free kick, Essendon.
So what they've got to be very, very careful of, Sydney, now. They're winning a little bit of ball, but you've got to kick it to one-on-ones. You've got to keep the ball away from the spare in defence. That time, Carlisle, the kick virtually came straight to him.
Well, that's right. They'll keep trying to man up that spare now. Sydney will be happy even if they have to play an 8-man forward line. They don't want any loose guys around the contest, especially not Brendan Goddard, who we know used the ball so well.
So 7 inside 50s to 0 in favour of Sydney in the 4th term. This is where the game's being played at the moment.
Now Carlisle's behind the footy. Mike Pike's pushed forward.
Heppel gets it out. Stanton caught.
Sorry, Laidler.
Howlett breaks free. Dyson Heppel caught. Oh, the old 1-2-3 works beautifully. Ambrose to Howlett.
Got to keep running. They've got numbers here. Just keep running.
Can they steal one against the run of play here? Long kick, full forward. Numbers down there. Little spill. Cooney couldn't grab it up. Smith. Straight through Jack. Goddard should get there. Bagley sends it back long in hope. Swans have the numbers. It's on the full anyway.
At least it's out of bounds, though, in the Essendon forward line. So Sydney.
Should have taken that, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he should have. Be disappointed with that. It's pretty slippery out there now, though.
He at least has played NAB challenge. Long to the wing. Hooker's down there. Pike is down there. And they'll reset from the ball in. 14 minutes left. 20 points to margin, and the margin was 40.
This is good for Essendon. They want to keep it as close to the boundary as they possibly can. Get it out of bounds, reset, get your breath back. They'll be starting to fatigue now with no games under their belt in the pre-season.
Last year's grand finalist up off the canvas. Reid to Kennedy, caught. Good attack from Bird, no free. Crowd 1-on-1.
He tried to release a teammate in Josh Kennedy there, Sam Reid, but he would have been better throwing it on the boot himself.
This is exactly what Sydney want at the moment. There's 7-2 clearances this quarter. If you're Essendon, you need to come up and stuck up these stoppages so they don't get anything free.
Yeah, you're right, Moons. What Sydney have done is they've put less numbers at the stoppage and tried to make it man-on-man so there's more space around it.
Yep.
And here is the space. Jeddah's about to use it. Isaac Heaney, the 18-year-old. He's got Towers long. He ignores him, goes for Franklin, missed him. Hibbert.
He's inexperienced, but that's a really, really bad kick. He had to keep it away from the loose Essendon players, or he just had to give a contest to one of his forwards, and he didn't create that opportunity.
Merritt. Danaher.
Well done by Danaher.
He's done that a few times, just punched it and gained another 15 metres and found the boundary.
Smart, just get it to the boundary. Reset now.
And everybody takes a breath, and boy, are the Bombers players sucking them in now.
And they will. They'll try and get some space here, Sydney. Get some movement through the stoppage.
Pike.
Belt it forward.
Stolen by Melksham. Stripped by a boot. Heaney, good pick up on the move. Couldn't get away with it though. Ball thrown out to Chapman. Fletcher. Richards. Danaher. And we're inside 13 minutes. Just keeps on keeping on, Teddy Richards.
They've just got the game back in their control a little bit here, Essendon. They've just been very smart around these stoppages, finally winning a couple of these stoppages, which has been the main thing for them.
Canterbury caught high.
Yeah, and if you're Essendon, you're happy.
Heaney caught high as well.
Happy to burn time off the clock at every opportunity.
Franklin, Hurley in front, got a fist on it.
Well done again.
Laidler, nice collect. Rowan, Bird, Laidler, kicks it forward in hope, bounces poorly for Franklin, kindly for Hurley.
Geez, they've lacked composure, Sydney, going forward today.
Hooker back to Hurley.
They have rushed.
Oh, he's launched a torp.
And it'll work. Watson's under it, nearly got it. Isaac Heaney, arms free, tackled, couldn't find a teammate with it. Melksham picks it up. Sydney's ball on the wing, 12 minutes left.
They're coming. They are coming, the Swans. They've just got to keep their composure, the Bombers.
Wide ball, Franklin the target, he's in front. Ball to the back. Played that well, Hurley.
He still draws attention, and more often than not, the loose player is going to gravitate towards Franklin. Sometimes you just got to fake as though you're going there and then just kick to another one-on-one contest in the 50-metre arc.
Well, I know that Buddy's the man that's going to win the game for him. So Essendon defenders will get drawn to him.
Howler. Ambrose.
Boundary's a good result.
Richards knows it's a bad result. Tries to keep it alive, but to his detriment. Collier. Stops, props, looks. Bird, turnover. Bird hands it up. Long bomb. Tip it!
Great grab.
Baby, that's good!
That is a good mark because he should have got a free kick to start with. He was retarded. He was held by Hooker in the first instance, but he was good enough to fight that off and then lunge and take the mark. A good kick here makes it real interesting.
And he throws the shin guard away again.
We saw him miss one from an easier position at this end in the second term. What have we got here?
Certainly the second half.
We've got a blood rule here. No? Yeah, there is a blood rule, is it?
Certainly the second half. The key forwards for Sydney have stood up. They've kicked some goals out of nothing. Had a couple of shots out of nothing. They haven't had a lot of the footy.
Oh, it's a head clash. Ambrose and Richards, and Ambrose has cut himself open.
Big kick, this one.
Well, the good thing about a blood rule is you get time to rest.
Yeah.
So if you're tired and you're worried and all those sorts of things, and the pressure of the moment, you can just relax, take a few deep breaths, think about your routine, and then get ready to execute.
He missed from a similar area on the ground a few minutes ago. This is probably a little bit tight angle, Dwayne.
Does make a difference. Hart right down to about 65, 70 beats a minute as opposed to 175. This is a massive kick. Everyone on the edge of their seats here, home. Swans fans right at home. We've got a classic finish coming up for your Saturday afternoon match of the round.
Play conservative. Don't allow Sydney to play on when they get the ball. They've got to get back to that brand of defensive pressure they had in the first three quarters. At the moment, they're just finding a little bit more space, the Swans, and they've got a sniff of something.
He's had a pretty good quarter, Kurt Tippett. He's had 9 contested possessions and 8 disposals there, Jay. So that's a real good effort.
Advantage.
No need to tell you how big the clearances are now. Rampy gets up, flicks it long. Heaney with the flick out to space. Jetta tried to get and go, left it behind. Merritt, the half forward. Grundy puts it to grass.
And went to ground.
Costly.
No one's in the goal square.
That is brilliant.
Run down tackle.
That is brilliant from Franklin.
Absolutely awesome.
He doesn't give up, buddy.
Franklin wide. Rowan flies,
contest.
ball out of play. That was the game over.
He read that from the middle of the ground, and he saw it was a 2-on-1, and he just accelerated. He went through the gears. Look at him. Just gather him in.
I don't think we talk about it enough, about Buddy. Always rated his competitiveness. He never gives up. He's a big game player, we know, but he always tries hard for his team, no matter what situation.
That could be a massive tide turner. Jack hammers it inside 50. Reed's got a couple to beat. Ball hits the deck. Reed scrambles, flicks it out. Rowan, Jack, backed into a gang tackle. Got it down, Reed, flicks it up. Tippett, off the cover. All the drama you could possibly think of.
That would have put the cat amongst the pigeons if he kicked that. Back within a couple of kicks.
Still a fair bit of time too. Nearly 10 minutes.
Now Dustin Fletcher will go long and he'll go wide.
Get to the boundary, boys. That's what the Essendon boys will be saying.
Danaher can't mark it. Cooney tries to scramble it away. Zaharakis caught, Shaw wraps him up, takes him down. Ben Howlett gang tackle. This is a different game. This is a different Swans.
Where was this intensity from Sydney in the first 3 quarters?
Or is it Essendon wearing out? Are they getting tired?
But they are starting to wear out a little bit, guys. I know with the early crowd, you can see them down here at the moment. They're getting their legs rubbed. They are pretty sore down here, but they haven't scored Essendon since the 19-minute mark of the 3rd quarter.
Swans have kicked the last 4 goals.
Really?
Had a big piece of that. Still a chance though. Hurley kept it alive. Out of bounds, a win for Danaher. Sees it across.
Nearly on the full.
He almost hung on to that.
Yep.
Kurt Tippett just couldn't quite hang on to it all the way to the ground.
13 points the margin. It was 40.
All of a sudden, Kurt Tippett's posing as the major threat.
There's still more than 2 kicks from the lead. Bell Chambers.
Good ruck contest to win, and he gained 20-25 metres.
So now Sydney have almost got, I think they've got 8 forwards ahead of the ball. Just trying to man up on Essendon, trying to get a lot of loose men behind the contest. Obviously trying to save the game now. 13 points in front, 9 minutes to go.
Bell Chambers almost rucked all day single-handedly. Bird didn't strike it that well. Tippett having an impact. Slap away from Hooker. Watson still there for the run on. Watson. Heppel goes long. Chapman's got 2 to beat. Ball hits the deck. Richards wearing the helmet now. Got one to the ear earlier. Chapman tries to keep it alive. It's wide. It's high. And it's out on the full.
Right, you got to cut off the change of direction here if you're Essendon.
A win for Essendon here is if Sydney kick it down
Up the line. Yep.
Pike and Tippett both there. Tippett's up, rises, hands on a good flick out by Hooker.
He's close to marking everything that comes near him at the moment, Kurt Tippett.
I think he caught earlier, boys. They needed to go find another option other than Buddy. Everyone knew where it was going. All of a sudden, Tippett's just planting himself into this game.
I like how he's getting up there and supporting the ruckman in the aerial contest when the Sydney guys are coming out of defence.
It's still raining, but it's like it's a dry ball at the moment. The handling's a lot better. Bird scrambles it. Fletcher. Danger. Oh, that was a win for Hooker.
Just all of a sudden, Essendon have looked a little bit fumbly. For 3 quarters, Sydney have fumbled. Essendon's been clean with the ball, but that's what pressure does to you, doesn't it, Jazz?
It certainly does, and they can feel it. There's no doubt about that.
And they had to jump early with their sub. Ben Howlett had to come on with Myers off after the opening minutes. So they've been down on rotations as well as being down on conditioning. Stanton caught. Melksham. Boundary line again was his option. Doesn't roll enough. Lloyd. Tippett's there. Knocks it down towards Towers. Did well. Hanbury, bang. Jack, the captain, sizes it up, bends it back. It's a 2-kick game.
Tell you what, they're bursting forward, Sydney, with energy.
They're creating opportunities, aren't they?
And that's what they say.
Oh, that's a free.
The message would be coming down from the coach box, play on at all opportunities, run forward at all opportunities.
That could be a massive turnover.
He's a long kick, Jeddah. You'd think he's going to...
Top of the goal square.
Heads to the pocket. Carlisle.
Falcon?
Bird. Oh, it's bending.
A miracle goal.
No way. Never in your wildest dreams. There's a goal in it.
Brownie, what's happening out here?
Well, I tell you what.
Craig Bird's just kicked a miracle goal. I'll tell you what he has done. And now there's only a kick in it. Have a look at this.
What a goal over the shoulder. What's happening? Essendon are getting really tired. They're trying to save the game. They're loading up. I think they've got nearly 9 players in Sydney's forward line blocking up the ball. It's not working. Sydney are just constantly sending men down into their forward line to make it a one-on-one contest, and then they're running forward at all opportunities to Sydney midfield.
They've got 8 men in their defensive 50, the Bombers.
High. Heppel's ball.
Now, what they've got to do is when they get the opportunity, attack and try and put score on the board. We saw it, if you remember the preliminary final last year, Hawthorn went super defensive when Port Adelaide were coming at them.
Yeah.
It's okay to be defensive and take all those defensive measures, but you've got to be able to hit the scoreboard when you get the opportunity. If that means you've got to keep some sort of attacking structure in place, well, then you've got to do that. Otherwise, you become far too predictable for the opposition, and then all the pressure will be on your defensive end.
And what's happening too around the footy is Sydney are dominating the contested possession this quarter, so Essendon can't get their hands on the ball to get composure with the ball and just kick it around to each other.
2 ruckman tie up. Heppel flicks it back. Danger zone. Smith. Bombers have the numbers.
It'll sit up.
Franklin beat the 2 of them to it. There's 1 kick in it. He drives it long. Goddard gets back.
Bad option.
The right option.
Oh! Jack, the steal, gets it back. This is to tie the scores. He can't mark it.
Super spoil.
Still
fumbles.
a chance.
Fumbles everywhere.
Through Jeddah's legs. Jack, their captain.
Kicked it.
It's all square. This is a freak show.
Well, who would have thought 15, 20 minutes ago when really for the first 3 quarters Sydney were insipid almost. Not insipid, that's probably too heavy a word, but they had no composure around the contest. They've been fumbling all day. They've just come out, they're throwing caution to the wind, been terrifically led by Kieran Jack, their captain.
How good was the spoil from Hooker?
All of a sudden, great spoil, but all of a sudden, Essendon are starting to fumble. Great leadership, Kieran Jack, hats off to you, mate.
So now we go back to a normal structure. 6 forwards at each end. It's about playing attacking footy again. Go back to what they were doing early, the Bombers. That's what they've got to do.
Hard attack from players of both teams. It's been an amazing final term. Over 40 points up. Lloyd and Laidler's on the overlap. They could take the lead. Flicks it back to Jack. Great attack from Hibbert. Couldn't get it out. Lloyd keeps it running. They've got the fitness here. They're inspired right now. Hanbury long. Reed's down there. 1 grab, not the second. Hurley to Fletcher. That lands kindly.
See, the pressure's on, isn't it? They are tightening up the Bombers, but they've got to maintain their composure. Just got to not panic. I mean, when you've got space, use the space. Take the time to hit a target. Don't just throw it on the boot because you think you're under pressure.
Sydney haven't scored all day from a stoppage. Could this be the time?
Back into play.
First time today the crowd's been chanting.
Oh, Grundy.
I'll tell you what, it's taken its toll on Sydney too. There's a few tired Swans out there. This has been an enormous effort.
Difference is, they've got Jake Lloyd, who come off as a substitute. He's been fresh, whereas Essendon have had to use their sub very early.
Interesting to see James Hird down on the boundary line. Wants to get close to the players, talk about composure.
Pity you can't come on. 5 minutes 21 left. They have not led today in this game, Sydney. and that's a little harsh. James Hird on the big screen getting booed. Ball knocked down. Goddard. Hairpull. Ambrose. Collier. That doesn't stay in. Crowd. Suddenly there's 40,000 in here. That's what it feels like. Sure.
17-7, the inside 50s. Well, of course, that number's going to be like that when they've got 7 or 8 defenders, Essendon. They've got no one forward of the ball.
Oh, dangerous kick.
Rowan down the middle, trapped by Collier.
Really dangerous kick. Another fumble.
Picked his pocket. Jetta wants to run, couldn't get it and run. Collier caught, dumped. Lloyd bangs it forward. Franklin, Melcham.
Good courage by Melcham.
The crowd look at the scoreboard here. They think the siren is going to blow any second. They look at the scoreboard. There's 31 minutes gone because of the stretcher. We've still got 4.5 left. The players don't know how long left. The players need the runners to come out and tell them. Rowan through his hands. You want to win the game in this circumstance, but you certainly don't want to be the player that loses it.
Quite a few midfielders too not getting their hands on the footy this quarter for Essendon. Stans had nothing. Cooney 1. Hibbard 1. Melcham 2. Need more from them.
Heaney, their 18-year-old. Franklin, one-on-one. Hurley, Franklin, hooker. Makes it somebody else's worry. Zaharakis stood under it. Rowan flicks it off. Couldn't quite strike it. Jetta waits for it. Tries to get it on the run. Ball comes up. Of all men, they're in front.
Oh, wow.
We're seeing more and more Sydney players push forward and find space because the Bombers don't have the legs to get all the numbers back. They've been running up and down the ground all day, and in the end, it's just wilting under the pressure.
You know, Buddy can hurt you there. He gets up around the stoppages, run back towards goal. They are definitely out of legs, the Bombers. And the message would have been by John Longmire at three-quarter time of Sydney, throw all caution to win. We're down by 20-odd points.
Well, from the outset, this would have been a miracle win if the Bombers got up. Right now, it will be one of the great wins of all time. If they could steal some points from this, there's still time. They don't know how long left. There's one kick in it, 6 points to margin. Zaharakis put his team under immense pressure. Hanbury stands his ground. Ball comes to Merritt. Collier with the back heel. Jack. Lloyd got it from Smith, bangs it long. Look. Umpire says deliberate.
Oh, come on, that came off the side of his
He's been good, Lloyd, there.
Oh, and he
take it back.
He has to start outside the boundary line. That was the issue.
Franklin and Tibb have stood up in this last quarter. 4 goals between them.
Oh, that's a poor kick.
After a quiet day.
Rampy caught by Hurley.
Yeah, he's unlucky. He's unlucky there, Hurley, because he couldn't see when the ball was released from the tackle. But they're going to get some numbers back, Sydney. There's a lot of players struggling to get back.
Just go to the big forwards, as you said. They've kicked 4 between them. This has been an even greater effort because their best player, and clearly their best player, Luke Parker, in this game, was knocked out early in the quarter.
Bomb to the square. Tippett's under it. Not the third grab.
Yeah, that was close.
Haven't they looked dangerous this quarter?
They're still alive, the Bombers. 6 points, the margin. Out of play inside 3 minutes to full time. And the hush falls over ANZ Stadium. The crowd look at the scoreboard. 34 minutes gone. Heaney spins around the body. Gets it to the goal square. Tippett's there. Fletcher's there. Laidler takes it out.
Well, it'd be so disheartening for them now. The Bombers, they know it's going to have to be a big miracle here.
Well, they're only a goal out of it. It's one kick and they're back level.
But they've got no energy. Look at the movement here at the stoppage. There's no movement from the Essendon players.
They'd probably take a draw now. Bird around the body.
What they don't want
Laidler.
They don't want a point.
Kennedy. Oh, he kept that alive, Tippett. Could have put it through. Could have made it 7 points. Could almost have made it impossible.
Yeah, I'd take a point right now if I was Sydney.
Yeah. Even though you give the ball back to Essendon.
Keep an eye on Buddy here. Will he jump up and try and smash it through as the third up? Or someone else? Here it is, Laidler.
Cunningham tucked into the boundary, pokes it up, and there's that.
It was out of bounds before he kicked it.
Who's writing the script? This has been phenomenal. If you joined us late, Essendon led by 40 points. They've run out of condition, and last year's grand finalist has been overwhelming.
They need to pull players out, the Bombers, because Sydney have got 2 spare behind the football.
Zaharakis trapped it well, flicks it out. Heaney, the 18-year-old, to be the hero, the local product from the academy, and he may have sealed it.
Look at the elation of the Sydney players. They know that they've got out of jail here today. For 3 quarters, they were dominated by a more committed Essendon side, but unfortunately, I think the lack of match practice and losing Myers early and not having that fresh sub to come on has told the tale. They've run out of legs. They haven't scored since the 19-minute mark of the 3rd quarter, the Bombers, and it's really been all Sydney since then. But credit to the Swans. They had to find something when most of their players were playing well below normal levels.
From the ball up, still 2 minutes left. Towers, kick smothered, still fighting on. Watson dragged down, caught, throw it away.
Now they'll take their time. All of a sudden, that play on at every opportunity has gone out of the Swans game because they're happy to chew up the clock. Kick wide, try and maintain possession.
Canterbury. Sets it up long, Tippett.
Nearly took another one.
He's looked very dangerous, Kurt Tippett, in the last quarter. He's playing the front spot. He's a very big man, we know. Put Dustin Fletcher to him now. He's had a lot of almost as well. He's almost taken 3 or 4 grabs in this last quarter as well as King and Cup.
Ball not down. Heppel. The Bombers players probably know now. Hibberd, short. Cooney, who's been inspiring, back to Hibberd. Hooker sent forward. Richards. Fist wins out as always.
Sydney will just get as many numbers now down to the contest.
Sam Reid's behind the last line of defence. He's sitting back as a defensive sweeper. So they've got the tall down back for that long kick that comes in. You've got a couple others drifting down, filling up holes.
Goddard dumped after he tried to get it away. No free. Howlett, who had to come on early as the sub. Man down early with Myers' injury. Franklin.
Oh, well done
early.
Been a good contest, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
Jetta. Oh. And they didn't get that.
Play on. They haven't heard the call.
Not 15. He chips it. Bird can hold it.
I've liked the game at this point, Jake Lord.
So he's been good since he came on, hasn't he?
Yeah, and that's what you ask from a sub. You want him to come on in the last quarter and a half and just provide a lot of run and energy, and that's something that Sydney lacked for the first 2.5, 3 quarters.
Tippett, Fletcher right on him. Close to the boundary. Kennedy. Seconds tick down. This has been phenomenal. They've come off the canvas to steal this one, the Swans. Against all odds from 40 down, and John Longmire has stolen this one, reached into the fire and pulled something out. A phenomenal start to the season for the Swans and for the Bombers, as if these players haven't had enough to cope with. They face the script from hell. James Hurd, first game back as an AFL coach. As much as this has been about the Bombers, and it was about the Bombers today, the Sydney Swans, last year's grand finalists, a 10-goal humiliation at the hands of Hawthorn last year. The Sydney Swans have won in the end in inspirational style by 12.
That just shows you that sometimes a huge effort just isn't enough. For 3 quarters, it was almost Herculean, the effort. Let's go down to Cam Mooney, who's got one of the match winners for Sydney.
Oh, probably got the match winner down here, Jace, buddy. 40 points down going into 3-quarter time. Tell us what was said.
I just pretty much win the contested ball. We were down for 3 quarters and it was about winning the ball and getting it forward and then putting the pressure up on the forward line. We're able to do that and we're able to capitalise and come away with an unbelievable win.
What about the first 3 quarters? It was very un-Sydney-like. You got beaten up around the ball a little bit today, didn't you?
Yeah, we got beaten in all facets of the game, defence, in the middle and up forward. So we just had to go back to the basics, and that was just winning the ball inside and then being able to run from there. And yeah, we got it going in the last quarter, but it's going to have to be 4 quarters from next week onwards.
Geez, the crowd's got loud all of a sudden. How about Tippett? You and Tippett last quarter, he really stood up, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He took some good, really strong contested marks up forward. And yeah, it's just awesome to play with him. And young Isaac Heaney, what a goal by him too. So he's another young boy coming through, and it was a good win.
Do you need to take Parker out for a little bit of a coffee later on?
Yeah, I have to fix him up with a coffee during the week. He's a tough bugger though. He got up, so I'll have a chat to him after this.
Mate, it was a fantastic win. Great result. Well done, buddy.
Thanks, cheers.
AFL football never ceases to amaze. Sydney from 40 down, 10-12-72 to Essendon, 9-6-60. The Swans home by 12.
This has been a Fox Footy production, part of the Fox Sports Network.